besties, welcome to another video. All right, we got another let's talk about it. Have y'all guys ever heard of a Shateri Weems? Have y'all ever heard of that storyline? Well, let's talk about it, okay? Now, if you're new here, my name is Barbie Dior, and I'm so happy you clicked play. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and hit that like button. Turn those notification bells on so you won't miss one video. And drop me some hearts in the comments. Y'all, let's talk about it. If you're new here and you never heard of this series, let's talk about it. It's like news with Barbie, okay? Okay, that's what I was originally gonna call it. But I like let's talk about it, okay? It's giving vibes that I like, okay? So when I think about let's talk, I'm thinking about, yeah, people gonna see this and eventually give Barbie her show, and that's what's gonna be called let's talk about it, okay? So basically, let me just go ahead and give you background, and we're gonna also talk about the signs of child abuse. So what, okay? So if you don't know anything about this story time, I mean not story time, well, it's a real life story. July the 21st in 2022, a shooting took place, okay? So I'm so sorry if I'm getting her name. I'm gonna call her Miss Weems, okay? Well, Miss Weems confronted her then husband, not her husband now, retired Baltimore police officer James Weems Jr., okay, at a hotel in Washington D.C. after learning of allegations that he had sexually abused children at the Little Kids Castle daycare in Maryland, okay? She shot him twice, so she shot her husband twice, one in the neck, once in the leg, and he survived and was later arrested for multiple counts of sexual abuse. So basically, she had a husband, she had a daycare. He was in charge of, I guess, sometimes transporting the children. He sexually abused these children. She got wind of it. Her reaction to it was shoot him. She didn't kill him, okay? All right. So Miss Weems, okay, Shateri, I think her name is Shateri, y'all. Her legal case. In November 2022, she pled guilty in D.C. to aggravated assault and carrying an unlicensed firearm. Okay, so the prosecutors argued that the shooting was premeditated, meaning she learned about that information and then she acted, okay? And cited her notes, while her defense described a moment of emotional chaos upon discovering the abuse. So they're basically just saying that with all, like, basically somebody tell you something about that's so severe that, okay, I have this daycare, my husband that is a police officer, that is a respected man, is hurting these kids that I told they were safe with me, and now he's hurting. And they're trying, you know, her defense team was basically, it was chaos. It was too much for her brain to handle. And this is how, you know, she handled the situation. It wasn't right, but this is what she did, okay? So, upon discovering the abuse, in February 2023, she received a 4-year prison term, twice the recommended probation, plus supervisor release for her actions, okay? So that's what she received. James, the husband, his criminal conviction, he was charged later in 2022. His trial began in October 2024, facing 8 and sexual assault involving a 7-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 12-year-old at a daycare and on his daycare bus. In November 2024, he was found guilty of multiple counts, sexual abuse, second-degree rape, and showing basically showing porn to a minor. He was sentenced to April the 14th. He was sentenced on April the 14th, 2025 to life in prison. So when I say they drag the case out, okay? So a civil lawsuit was filed in March 2025 by the victim's parent. It's named both James and Miss Weems are Shateri. I need to stop calling her Miss Weems because she ain't married that man no more. But I don't want to mess up her name. I think it's called, we're going to call Shateri. I think Shateri. I'm messing up her name, y'all. But allegedly alleged neglect and false imprisonment and seeking damages related to emotional trauma and abuse at the daycare. So this is what a parent filed. So basically they filed, neglect for the children and false imprisonment and setting dangerous related emotional trauma and abuse at the daycare. So basically for abuse, trauma, emotional things, she filed this for both of them, because I guess she assumed that the wife knew about the situation, but she didn't. Clearly she didn't. After they learned about this, she shot her husband. So Shateri was released on June 2027. So she just got released this year in 2025. So on June 2027, which is today actually, she was released. She was released from prison to a halfway house in DC and is expected to serve home confinement until her full sentence concluded in December 2025. Okay, so I'm gonna cut out and I'm gonna show y'all this video. You're gonna get to hear her talk about this, and I feel, we're gonna talk about it. Just go out and watch the video.
Do you guys remember the daycare owner who shot her husband after she found out that he was graping and molesting children at the daycare that she owned while he was picking them up in the van to drop them off to and from home in the daycare? She's been released from prison to a halfway house. Now, remember, this happened back in 2022 in the state of Maryland. To add insult to injury, her husband was a retired Baltimore police officer. And it was only by the vigilance of the 10-year-old's parents who caught her watching porn on her home tablet that they had a conversation with her that all of this was uncovered. But it had been going on for a while. And who knows how many other victims he had. But he is now serving a life sentence. But she was sentenced to 4 years for shooting him after she confronted him about what he had been doing. Thank goodness she's out.
Most of her 4-year sentence, a punishment that outraged supporters who thought the judge was way too harsh. Tonight, WJZ investigator Mike Helgren speaks to Shateri Young from the halfway house she is staying at. And Mike, you are live with the exclusive that everyone has been waiting to see tonight.
Well, Rick, she was gracious, happy to talk to us. That halfway house where she's at right now is in Washington, D.C. She got there on Tuesday and expects to be in some sort of home confinement through December, but is looking forward to eventually rebuilding her life here in Maryland. Shateri Young is almost free after being in custody since July 2022 when she shot her then husband, former Baltimore City police officer James Weems, after confronting him over allegations he'd been abusing children at her daycare, Little Kids Castle in Owings Mills. What do you want people to know?
One of the things I really want to say is I thank everybody for the support that they have given me. It has really helped me get through my prison sentence, and I'm just really thankful for that. I'm glad to be out and at the halfway house, and I'm just looking forward to rebuilding and giving back to the community like I was before.
She testified against her ex-husband, who was convicted of rape and sexual abuse last year and sentenced to life in prison. Prosecutors built their case around a 10-year-old girl he abused inside the daycare's van.
The one thing I think that we need to know is that sexual abuse is not okay with children. A lot of times in the past, it has been covered up, and it's good that it's getting some type of notoriety to it so that we can stop it. We can help children and not accept this, especially from somebody who we all thought should have been protecting children and protecting the community at one point.
A judge in D.C., where the shooting occurred, sentenced Young to 4 years in prison, double what prosecutors requested. People around the world and here in Maryland expressed outrage at a punishment they believed was too harsh. Did you feel the support? Did you get those messages?
Absolutely. A lot of people wrote to me, and, I was able to contact with a lot of people. I definitely felt the support. I think the support is what kept me sane in prison.
Anything you want to say to the community and those supporters who love you so much and who stood up for you throughout this?
I would just say thank you so much. I really appreciate each and every one of them. I'm definitely glad that the justice system saw what happened and he was sentenced to what he got, and that everybody can start trying to rebuild and move on.
Okay, so now that y'all watched the video, how do y'all feel? I felt a lot of emotions, because I felt like with a situation like this, I feel like anybody would snap out. Some people was like, I wouldn't shot him though. I would just let the law do the law. But sometimes the law don't be doing the law. Sometimes the law don't be doing the law. Do you know how hurtful and painful this was my job, this was my career, this was my passion. I love these kids all, and then I brought you around and you were doing this to these babies? I don't know. I don't know if I would have shot him, but I definitely would have beat him with a bat or something. But it ain't right either way. But I'm just saying something would have happened to him. Cause sir, what? You did what? Before I let them people take you away forever, I got to do something to you. Cause baby, why are you touching kids? Why are you touching kids? You had a whole wife. She want to know? I hated it. I hated hearing this story. This really hurt my feelings because I just can't stand to see him. I can't stand to see him because y'all hear the ages? 10, 12. Young babies. 10, 12. What was it? And 7. He didn't even have no type. If you was young, you were just right. I don't like it. Mr. James, come on now. Just piss poor. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. It made me feel all types of ways because I feel like our job as adults is to protect. And they never thought that Mr. James was going to do this. They trusted him, or he, oh, we're going to go to the store instead of going home. Well, I live this way. Mr. James, you're going the wrong way. And then they pull over to the side of the road and he doing this to him. That hurt my feelings to think about that somebody had to go through that because my son is in daycare. Now, he ain't riding no buses. I'm picking him up and going, But as a parent, sometimes at the back of my mind, I just wonder, is my child okay? I hope nobody ain't doing nothing to him. I hope, because I don't know if I trust the law to do what I need to be done to you. I don't know. That was my thought. I don't know. Because I feel like I worked in a prison. If you follow the prison stories, I was a correctional officer and I was a correctional case manager for almost up to 7 years. And I'm going to tell you this. I see how they live. And over half of them going down line about what they in there for. So don't nobody ever bother them, okay? Unless you owe somebody some money for some honey buns or something, don't nobody ever bother you, really. You play cards until they release you. They got tablets now. They watching TV. They got one TV and everybody got to share it. But still, they not living. They miserable because they don't have, like, the luxuries of going to be able to walk around in the free world. But a lot of them is living life like everything is okay. Like, they ain't did nothing wrong. They adapted to another life. And I don't think you should breathe air if you touching babies. I'm sorry. I don't think you should breathe air. I think you need to go to hell. Okay? That's why I think you need to, whether I send you there or somebody else do. I think that's where you need to go. I think you need to go down there with your daddy. Okay? I just think you need to go on. Bye. Skedaddle. What we need you here for? To hurt somebody that's so precious, that's not even don't know what's going on, and here you go. Oh, yes, look at you. I don't like that. Mr. Fly, you want to be on fly so bad. You want to be a star so bad, y'all. I done recorded 5 videos, y'all. Look, the same fly flying around. I done swatted at him 52 times. I'm still alive. I'm still alive. You done hit me twice. Anyway, but I'm serious. CMs, I hope that everyone is found out and something horrible happens to you. Anyway, that's how I feel. I talked about it. But now I'm going to talk to y'all about major signs of child abuse, okay? All right. We as parents, adults, we need to look at the signs because the very person you think won't hurt your child is the one you better be watching, okay? Because it's too much going on in there. And women do abuse children as well, so don't ever think that, oh, she's so lady, she wouldn't abuse child. Sometimes their crowns is worse, baby. Okay? All right, physical abuse, okay? These are signs to look for. Unexplainable bruises, burns, or welts, especially in shapes like belts or hands, okay? Injuries at different stages of healing, fear of going home or fear of a particular person, flinching at sudden movements or touch, wearing long sleeves in hot weather to cover bruises, okay? So these are physical signs of abuse. So if you see anything like this, you might want to do some investigation, see what's going on. Sometimes just even having a conversation with them Let them know, hey, if you're not ready to talk about it today, I'm here to talk about it. Or if you suspect something, report it so help can be offered, okay? Because a lot of the time an abuser gets them off to themselves. Nobody care about you, nobody love you, ain't nobody even care. I'm pretty sure they done saw these, they're telling them lies, they isolating them, they're making them feel like, hey, ain't nobody gonna love you, and then they get them to the point where they just believe what they saying, okay? So my thing is, if you see it, report it, okay? Get that person healed. And even if you're wrong about what you're reporting, at least if that child needed help, that child will get help, okay? If you're wrong, you're just wrong, and they live another day. And you got to deal with some mean faces. But if you suspect this by looking at physical abuse, get that child help. Now, today, this second, do what you got to do, okay? Sexual abuse. So these are signs to look for, okay? Trouble walking or sitting. Knowledge of sexual behavior beyond age norm. Suddenly changing behavior such as withdrawal or aggression. Nightmares or bedwetting. Avoidance certain people without explanation. STDs or pregnancies, especially in younger children. Drawn or talking about sexual topics, okay? So these are some signs to look for if you see these things. Begin to ask questions to let them know that you're there to talk to them. If you want to go for a walk, or we can have a conversation, you can tell me anything, you can confide in me. And y'all, if a child tell you something, don't assume that because this person you respect and they telling you that they done did this thing to them. Get them help. And if you don't know how to get them help, go talk to there's social workers at school, there's counselors at school. Get that child help. If you don't know what to do, go and get help. Go ask somebody something, okay? If you're scared of this person that's in your house that's hurting your children, go get help. You can talk to the social worker. Look, my husband is doing X, Y, Z to me. I don't know what to do. They can advocate for you and your child, okay? All right? But get you and get your child help. Don't just keep living life like this ain't happening. Just because, and sometimes people just live trauma over and over. This happened to you, so now it got to happen to your kids. No, stop it. At some time, you're going to have to stop the abuse. This is not right, and it's wrong. So get your children help. If you don't know what to do, the first step, advocate for your child. Call. If you can't call, go up to the school. When you tell that man you going grocery shopping, go grocery shopping by all means, but also stop to the school. Hey, how you doing? Can I please? It's very important. I need to talk to the social worker here. If the social worker not, listen, I got this XYZ. If you got to, write a note and let them know I can't talk at this time, but this is what's going on. So they can show up with the proper people to help you and your child, okay? Anyway, get those babies help. All right, so we went on physical abuse, we went on sexual abuse. These are signs to look for. 3, emotional abuse. These are signs to look for abuse so you can get help. Excessive withdrawal, fear, anxiety, or depression. Low self-esteem or self-worth. Extreme behavior, too complicated or too demanding. Too complimenting, like you giving too many compliments, or too demanding. Delays in emotional or social development. Suicide thoughts or actions. So these are emotional abuse signs. So you see some of these things, and I know somebody be like, this could be sign for other things. Sometimes it is, but these are some things that you need to look for as far as emotional, okay, abuse. Number 4, neglect. Okay, these are signs to look for. Neglect. Okay, constant hunger or stealing food. Poor hygiene, body odor, dirty clothes, untreated medical issues, infection, dental problems. So you start seeing kids popping up to school. Every time you see them popping up to church, sometimes kids show up to church like this. You might want to take this one. Inappropriate clothes for weather. Like if you see somebody dressed for wintertime in the summer, or you vice versa. If you see somebody coming up, is flu weather outside, but they coming in with booty shorts on or something like that, or they coming in with short shorts. It might be something going on, okay? So you might want to look at it. Frequency asking, always asking, because sometimes if the abuser done beat the child too bad, or they know that they have not healed properly from them actually, molesting them and doing things to them, they can't walk. If a grown man is doing something to you and you're a little child, you might can't walk. So sometimes they won't allow them to go to school. They keep them home with them. So these are things to look for. Okay, all right. Lack of supervision, being left alone with unsafe individuals. Okay, so these are signs to look for as far as neglect is concerned. All right, behavior red flags. Sudden drops in school performance or interest. So if you see somebody that's an A principal list, all of a sudden just drop, don't care, you might want to look into it. Okay. Difficult concentrating or signs of trauma. So if you see somebody, you get around them and say, oh, I like your sweater, and they doing this or something like that, might be a sign that something going on. If they're not getting sexual abuse, they might just be getting hit on. So they still need your help. Okay. Self-harm. You see somebody cutting themselves, start noticing their cuts on their arms, or you start noticing that there are bruises, or self-harm, cutting and burning. Okay, start seeing burn marks in different places. Some people do this to release pain. Okay, they might be feeling pain in one situation, so they don't want to think about being the pain or being abused, so they hurt themselves so they can focus on that current pain. Okay, so these are things that you need to look for. Okay, regressive behavior, thumb sucking, wetting the bed. Okay, these are things that you want to look for. Fear of adults or over clinginess. Okay, so if you start seeing these things, these are behavior red flags. Okay, all right. So what can you do now that you done saw these things? What can you do? Barbie say, what can you do? Okay, number one, listen and believe. If a child confides in you, believe them. Stay calm and don't pressure for details. Let that child share what they're confident. So if they're just talking to you, hey, Miss so-and-so, listen, my daddy hits me a lot, and then after he hits me, he does X, Y, and Z to me. I don't want to go home. Can you please help me? Let them share what they feel comfortable, and then later on, the proper authorities will gather all this other information. But once you know this information, act immediately. Don't wait. Act immediately. Okay, all right. Number two, document. Write down dates, injury, behavior, anything that shows the child sees. So if the child show you different things on their body part, take pictures of it. Depending on where you at, some people will want you to take pictures of it. Some people will want you to write down stuff. Some people want you to take pictures and do all of it. Okay, but it's basically important to write dates, times, when y'all had the conversation, what was said, who were people names, who were involved. Write everything down. Okay. Number three, report. Call Child Protective Service, CPS. Okay, or your local abuse hotline. In the United States, you can contact the Child Help National Child Abuse Hotline. Now I'm gonna put it across. That's 1-800-4-A-CHILD. Okay, so that's 1-800-422-4453. Okay, if you can't remember that, 1-800-4-A-CHILD is the Child Help National Child Abuse Hotline. So if you don't know what to do, you don't want to report it to your school, whatever the situation, you can call this hotline and they will give you resources of what to do or what steps to take. Okay, all right. So that was Child Help National Child Abuse Hotline. 1-800-4-A-CHILD. That's 1-800-422-4453. Okay? And always do a follow-up. Stay involved and supportive if possible. Some children may need long-term support. So be there. Don't just find out about a surgery today and just say, okay, I'm going to let them handle it. If you're still able to be around the child, meaning they haven't took the child and put the child somewhere else for their safety, and you're still there to offer support, offer support. I'm still here if you need to talk. Because sometimes they might, because they share this with you, they might want you to be in the meetings when they got to meet with people. And they got to meet with officers such and such. And they got to do these reports. They might even request you. So if you can, be there for them, okay? And y'all, please, if a child reports something to you, do not assume that because you know a version of a person they did not meet a different version. Okay? You might know Pastor so-and-so. They might make Damien. You might know Teacher Louise. They might met Shateri. You might know this person. Y'all get what I'm trying to say? Just because they show you a person, I ain't met nobody that has offered, hey, I like children and we do fun things together. We take our clothes off and we bump party parts, and that turns me. I've never met somebody volunteer the information. They're usually caught, and then now we know these things about them. They go do time, and unfortunately they get small amount of times depending on what they do. Some people get 2 years and be right back doing it. Okay, some people get 5 years, some people get 15 years, because this particular man in this story time, he's done it multiple times. Okay, and I feel like they gave him the book because he was a police officer, and they gave him life because he was a police officer. Anybody else, 30 years, 25 years, and then he would have lived it and be an old man right back out here doing what he do. Because if nobody talks about these situations, you sweep things under the rug, they can continue to abuse. I've been told many story times about uncles and all types of people, and I'm like, well, did you tell? Well, I told my mama and she didn't believe me, or she told me not to say anything because it was part of our family and she was just going to keep me away from. Tell it. These people do not deserve to be out here or hurting other people. If you don't tell, you don't protect the next person. You don't protect the next person that's behind you. If you couldn't save yourselves, please save the other. Okay? Because these people just don't wake up. I'm just not going to do it anymore. They don't. When you age out, and that's what I call it, when you age out, because a lot of them have types. Okay? A lot of them like, oh, just like you might like somebody light skin with quarter hair. They got to be 6'3" and got some money. They got a type too. That type might just be a newborn baby. That type might be your 4-year-old. That type might be that 1-year-old down your street. So if you see it, report it. I don't care what you think. That person would never hurt nobody. Why are you saying this, Davion? He would never do this to you. When I was around, he was around me when I was little. Baby, you might want his type. Davion might have something he like. If they confide in you, do your job and help. Stop making excuses for people. He didn't mean to do it. I've heard that before. He meant to do it, and he gonna do it again. Stop it. If you got to this point and you saw this, you still can report today. I don't care when it happened to you. Report it. Get it out there. Get it, the message out there, because it's too many coaches out here that have not hurt 10 years of kids because nobody will speak up. If you got to go, they got us right now on TikTok. You can go out there and black screen yourself out and just talk. Look, my name is such. They don't know who you are. You can distort your voice. My name is such and such. I live in such and such state. When I was such and such age, coach such and such stuff. This need to be out. I don't want him to hurt nobody else. This is what happened to me. And then I guarantee you'll be so surprised how many other people will follow you and say, well, Dad, that happened to me too. He did that to me. And before you know it, coach such and such gonna be where he need to be. Up and out the way, and they won't be able to hurt nobody. Let's do our job and protect these babies, okay? If you see any of these signs, please get them help, okay? Now, anyway, I hope that y'all have a good day whenever you're watching this. And baby, our job here on earth as adults is to protect the next generation. So let's make sure we're doing our job well and not assume things, and do what we can to help today. Not tomorrow, not 10 years from now, today. Anyway, it's been nice. I'm your girl, Barbie Dior. If you haven't already, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Go ahead, hit that like button. Go ahead, drop me some hearts in the comments. And please, if you ever meet somebody like this, know somebody like that, tell. Help today. Bye, besties. See you on the next video.